It's an ML Sports Take brought to you by our good friends at Stumble and Monkey Brewing Company and Batavia Downs Gaming. Stay, play, dine, and win. Book your package right now at BataviaDownsGaming.com. So I wanted to do a video. This one might be about, 4 to 6 minutes or so. But from where I sit, being a Sabre fan and I guess kind of quasi covering this hockey team, combined for the last 40 years, and the drought that they're in, second longest playoff drought in pro sports behind the New York Jets, the frustration level, the hockey mad city that I know it is. I used to go to games as a fan, a ton of them. I've been to the Stanley Cup Finals there. I've been to the pregame parties. I've been to in the press box a million times. I have a ton of friends who cover the team still. Mike Harrington, Bill Hoppy, those kind of folks. And I love the city. I know it well. I know the fans. I've been downtown when it's hot and the Stanley Cup playoffs are going on. It's amazing. I've been to the Frozen Four in that building. I've been to NCAA tournaments in that building. I mean, Buffalo means a lot to me, and this team means a lot to me. And it's so frustrating to watch what's going on with this team. And you know what? I'm doing this right off of last night, right? They let the worst team arguably in the league come in there in Calgary. They played the night before. They got crushed in Chicago, gave up a hat trick to Connor Bedard. More on that player, that type of cornerstone player in a moment. There's no excuses. Calgary comes into Buffalo and destroys the Sabres. I mean, the first period, the Sabres are sleepwalking. The second period, they tied up 2-2 and then 4 unanswered in the third. Having said all that, this is how I would rebuild this team. Now, if Terry Pegula does not care about this team, now I guess the media people who are around this more would tell you that, oh, Terry wants him to win and on it goes. But he's not really in it that much. You don't hear him talking about it that much. He came in and said, I want to deliver a Stanley Cup. And obviously he loves hockey. He gave his alma mater, Penn State, millions and millions of dollars. He's got plenty more where that money is. All he has to do is kind of, clean his ear. Oh, there's another couple million. So he does love hockey, but it seems like he and everybody around him are just kind of all hands on deck for the Bills. And the Sabres are just kind of over here as like a play toy. Now, Terry Pegula, yes, the best thing would be to sell the team unless he actually gets active and involved, start carrying and making moves right now. Obviously, I would fire Kevin Adams. Lindy Ruff, how much can you blame him right now? Probably not a ton, but I don't think Lindy Ruff boomeranging back to the Sabres was the right move anyway. If you're going to tear this thing down, you want to tear it all down and start from the bottom. Now, is this season over? Not technically, but boy, it feels just mentally and physically and just the way they are, and the games like this last night that they have it a lot of games where they've gone into overtime and gotten some points, which has been a good thing. They haven't been able to do that in a points-based league. And of course, half the team makes the playoffs, or half the league makes the playoffs, which is even more pathetic. It's based on point structure. You have some bad games, you still get into overtime a few more times. You get a point here, get a point there. You start adding those up, and you know what? You do that 6 to 8 more times a year. That can be the difference in making the playoffs as, a 6, 7, or an 8 seed. But I would get rid of Lindy too. I would start completely fresh. So it starts at the top with Terry. He's going to keep it. He's going to keep the product. He's got to care more about it, and he's got to go find, so he either sells, but let's play it that he keeps it. Let's say that he stays with the ownership group. And I did tweet at Mike Harrington before this video because I wanted to add what he said. He's been covering the Sabres for decades. He said that he's not worried about somebody coming in and moving the Sabres if they were to buy from Terry. Lease considerations and league considerations, no way Gary Bettman, the commissioner, and company would approve it. And they want expansion money, not relocation. They only left Arizona because there was nowhere to play. And while that's all fine and dandy, I agree with most of what Mike said. He's right on the Arizona thing. Owners can come in, and different owners and people do different things and do whatever they want. I mean, contracts are signed in college football, and they're broken within a year or two if the guy gets fired. So I do understand his point and all that. I do think Gary Bettman would have the city of Buffalo back, their back. And this video is not going to go 4 to 6. It'll go close to 10 now. I just realized I'm going over 4 minutes already. So again, it's either like Terry sells and then the new ownership comes in and has to revamp it. But let's play, the hypothetical that he keeps the team. And either way with a new owner, right? This is what kind of needs to happen. I think they need to tear this whole thing down. And here's how I would start it. In terms of roster construction, I would literally trade all of your big guys. I would trade Alex Tuck at the deadline this year. I'm telling you right now, Sabre fans are going to think I'm crazy when they watch this. I would trade Tage Thompson. I would trade Rasmus Dahlin. I'd trade Owen Power. Owen Power's come in here and been a bust. Come in there and been a bust. He's a number one pick. Dahlin is a very good defenseman. But I could tell you that I'd rather have at least 5 to 8 defensemen minimum around the NHL before I'd rather have Rasmus Dahlin. The guy struggles to get the puck out of the zone. He's really inconsistent. He blows out tires in overtime. I don't see the upper echelon skill that I see with a lot of these other top tier, Quinn Hughes, Cal McCarr, and a host of others. I'd rather have Zach Werenski than Rasmus Dahlin. I know he's been going through a lot, personally this year. And again, this is just a hockey conversation, but I would trade all of these guys and compile as many picks as I can, not to go use them. Hang on for a second. And then I would, as I'm doing this, the Sabres, their superstars are overrated. Their prospect pool and evaluating and developing, drafting, developing, and keeping or not keeping, understanding what a prospect is doing. I mean, Ostlund, it seems like, is coming on maybe a year too late, right? Why is he doing that? He's already 21 years old. In another organization, he would have already struck gold maybe 2 years ago. Why does it take these guys so long? Zach Benson's always injured. Like, you got to then, after you trade all these superstars, you got to figure out, okay, who are the real core guys? And the Sabres maybe have been trying to do that for a while. But like, you trade J.J. Paterka, you trade Dylan Cousins. Most fans thought those guys would be core players. They're not. You go and get an injured player in terms of Norris. Like, Jack Quinn's been injured, but you gave him the bag, and he's already 24 years old. Like, what is Isaac Rosen at this point? Injuries galore, a defenseman. I understand you can't predict injuries, but like, the Sabres have no idea what they're doing, and they didn't let Eichel get the neck surgery, and he would have been a cornerstone guy. I mean, for God's sakes, they tanked 10, 11 years ago to get Connor McDavid, and they got the backup guy in Jack Eichel, which would have been fine if you would have handled it better, if the relationship was better, if you let him go get the surgery. Instead, he gets the surgery with Vegas. He wins the Stanley Cup. He's now got a huge new contract, and he's out there making, tax-free money. He's playing for a contender every year. He's got great weather. They got a great culture. They build with, around him. He's zero complaints for Jack Eichel. The Sabres, they need that guy, the guy who they let out the door. I know people like Ryan O'Reilly and Reinhart and a lot of these guys who have left to win Stanley Cups. They're good players. They're not Jack Eichel. And it reminds me right now of how one player can change everything. I've heard Ryan Whitney say that so many times on the Chicklets podcast on Barstool, and he's right. You look at Matthew Schaefer with the Islanders. You look at Celebrini with the Sharks. You look at Connor Bedard again, mentioning him. He had a hat trick the other night. The Sabres need one of those guys. And then underneath him, they need a bunch of guys who they know are going to be there. They're cornerstone, layered prospect guys. They can't draft and develop and keep. A lot of their prospects get injured a lot. A lot of the prospects, I don't know what the hell's going on. They just can't figure out what the hell they're doing. I mean, Kalik, we still don't even know what the hell he is. I mean, Benson injured, like, we don't even know what he is yet. And somebody might tell me, well, yeah, but, some of these guys are still, 23, 24. That's a little late for me. This is a young man's game. These guys come in. If you've seen the age of Celebrini, if you've seen the age of Bedard, they come in at 18 years old and boom. Some of these other guys come in who aren't the top tier superstars come in and they're effective between 18 and 21. Like, teams know what their prospects are. Vegas knows, Tampa knows, Florida knows. And I understand those are the bread and butter teams. Like, even Dallas knows, the Wild know. Like, over half the league knows. That's part of the reason why the Sabres have no idea what they're doing. I mean, Peyton Krebs, he's a nice player, but like, is he anything more than like a third line centerman? I mean, Kulik, we don't know, he's 21 already. He's already been in the league a few years. Ostlund kind of come into it late. Tage Thompson's already 28 years old. And I like Tage. I think he's a really good player. But like, I could go through the NHL standings and tell you 30, 40 players I'd rather have than Tage Thompson, honestly. I mean, I go through these things right here. I'd rather have Raymond. I'd rather have Pasternak. I'd rather have Cole Caulfield, Kucherov, Braden Point. I'd rather have Matt and Brady Tkachuk. I'd rather have Austin Matthews and Nylander. I'd rather have Jack Hughes. There's a million guys. Hell, I'd almost pretty much rather have Alex Ovechkin at 40 years old at this point. I'd rather have Trocheck, right? I'd rather have a bunch of the guys in Columbus. This is, and then you go to the West, forget about it. Just on the Avalanche alone, McKinnon and a bunch of others, is 4 or 5 guys there I'd rather have Jason Robertson, maybe at this point maybe not Robertson for Dallas, but there's plenty to go around. I mean, the Utah Mammoth guys. I'd rather have Logan Cooley. I'd rather have, I mean, my God, you go to Vegas. You'd rather have 4 or 5 guys, Eichel included, right? Draisaitl, McDavid, Celebrini, Bedard. I mean, it goes on and on and on with this. I'd rather have over Tage Thompson. So that's kind of what I would do is I would just tear this thing down. I'd fire Kevin Adams. I'd fire Lindy Ruff. I'd fire all the assistants, and I would go get as many draft picks as humanly possible. I wouldn't give a flying rip if I gave 8, 10 picks to go up and get one guy who you think, and again, a hockey ops guy has got to know what the hell he's doing, because you can't miss on this next one. They've been missing too many times. They missed on all these GMs. You got to absolutely know who the hell the guy is who's going to build your team to turn this thing around officially, because it's got to stop. It just has to stop. The fan base is too good. The ratings when the playoffs are on, the Sabres aren't even sniffing it, are through the roof in Buffalo. The fans deserve better. It's a proud franchise. It goes back to Hasek and LaFontaine and Gilbert Perreault and McGillney and all these different players. This is ridiculous for the Sabres. And to have a league where you have half the league make the playoffs and it's a point-based system, this is absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely embarrassing, and it has got to stop. It literally has got to stop. Even with the Anaheim Ducks, when they were down for a bit, my God, they've won a Stanley Cup or two. The freaking Kings are out west. They've won multiple cups. My God almighty. I mean, go look around. Even the Carolina Hurricanes, they haven't won a cup, but every year it's deep playoff runs because of the structure, ownership, front office, head coach, structure, Brindamore, the way they play, the players they know, they want to bring in. Like, this has got to change. They have to fix this. And I think when you look at this, I would do it by those layers. I would cut the GM, I'd cut the head coach, I'd cut the assistant coaches. I start completely and utterly fresh. I would trade your number 1 draft picks in Dahlin and Power, get a load back for all these different guys. Who's going to take, you're only going to get a 3rd and a 4th for Power, or a 2nd? Who gives a fly? Get them out. Move all these guys out. Owen Power is brutal. He can't even backskate his way and check, his way out of a paper bag. Defensively turns the puck over. I thought he was this big, long, tall guy with a huge shot who was going to be a huge force in the power play. He was going to be this. He's going to be that. He's going to be a protector of the center of the ice. The guy can't do anything. Can't get the puck out of his own zone. He gets bodied off the puck. He's got no aggression. He's got no will. I mean, he's brutal. So I would move Power for a bag of beans. I'd move Dahlin, I'd move Tage, and then underneath that, you got to figure out who you want. Like, do you want, for your younger players, do you want to keep like a Kozak, a Krebs, and a Kulik, and an Ostland, and Benson? Do you want to keep these guys, right? Do you want to, Josh Doan's 23 years old. You want to keep him? You want to keep Jack Quinn? You just signed him. Like, out of all these guys, trade Tuck. You got to figure out who you want to keep with those young guys, that 19, 20 to like 24, 5-ish window. You got to figure out the 3 to 5 guys there you want to keep. You got to form some lines, form some chemistry. You got to figure out who you want from a defenseman standpoint as well. Injuries obviously play a part. Even Samuelson's 25 years old already. I mean, my God. Bowen Byram, I mean, he's had a nice year, but he doesn't really do a lot for me. I mean, he's fast and kind of offensive, but, I mean, what does he really do for you? So you got to figure out who you're going to have underneath that cornerstone guy you got to go get, whether that's blowing everything out for a Gavin McKenna or going out and getting somebody else, trading for somebody who I mean, it's hard to trade for people because nobody wants to play in Buffalo. Like, I think you need a cornerstone dude to change everything. Sell jerseys, give you hope, not bring back Lindy Ruff for freaking hope. That's not hope. And you have a cornerstone player, you build around that player with those young guys underneath I talked about. Then you got to go out and get a bunch of guys who actually know how to win, what it takes. The game when Calgary comes in and you got to have it to keep getting points. They're going to try to do everything they can to win that game. Guys who know what it takes in the postseason. Guys who know what it takes off the ice. Guys who aren't just going to fall down when the going gets tough. Go out and get some of those winners. That's why I wanted a Steven Stamkos in that locker room when he became a free agent, or a Marchessault, or somebody like that. People who know how to win, the daily thing, how to be a professional, how to handle yourselves. Guys who aren't going to be soft and embarrassing and all these different things. I'm talking to the media about, I don't like getting booed, like all that bullshit. Like, you need guys who are going to kind of, you're going to balance out that youth. And some of these guys are young too, but you're going to balance out the players you have, I should say, with guys who can come in and kind of show others what it takes, what you're going to do. And then, from there, you got to work the cap. You got to work everything out. Obviously, goalie's been a problem too. I mean, they got so many waiver guys. It looks like UPL's a little bit overrated since they gave him that extension. And you'd have to figure out the goalie thing too. Devin Levi, is he finally going to be a part of it or not? I mean, do you go and commit and say, to hell with it? We paid UPL. He's 26. He's the guy. Levi's the guy. Bring him up and we just go for it that way. Do you go with a different model? I mean, the Devils model seems to be a pretty good model there. I mean, I don't know how you can go find an elite guy at this point, like a Hellebuck or a Shesterkin. Do you go trade for somebody? Whatever it might be, like as elite as you can get, and UPL is your backup, and then there's a third. Is it UPL and Levi and a third? But you got to figure out that as well. This roster needs a big time reconstruction. I would get rid of everybody except the young guys or you think you know. And here's the last part of this. When I said fire the GM, fire the head coach, who do you bring in? Well, Brendan Shanahan's out there. I mean, Brendan Shanahan built the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm not saying that he's the best deal, but the Leafs were really, really brutal. He came in, and it's a different deal in Canada, right? Even the Vancouver Canucks never won a Stanley Cup, but they've tasted what it could be like. Game 7, 94, lost to the Rangers. Game 7, years later, lose to the Bruins. The Canucks fans, they still think every single game is like, season or bust, and it's Canada, and it's Canadian hockey, Southern football, right? Like Yankee, Red Sox, markets like that, right? Pressure cooker stuff, right? In Philadelphia, Euro soccer, all that kind of stuff. Pressure cooker fan base stuff, right? The goal for the Sabres, first, they got to make the playoffs. They got to be a sustained playoff team. And then from there, you got to grow and grow and grow and grow to try to make yourself a contender like the old days in the 80s and the 90s and all the rest, the early 2000s. But you got to start by making the playoffs multiple times, getting in there, getting a taste of it, knowing how to win, what it takes to win. These guys on this roster have no idea, the Quinns and the Kuliks and these guys. You got to get these guys in and give them that experience. Maybe Brendan Shanahan's the guy to at least come in, build this team. Would he take the job? I don't know. But it's got to be somebody like that who knows how to actually construct things, build things, scout, hire the right people underneath him and do it. Now, Toronto people say, it was a failure there because we didn't win a Stanley Cup. Well, for crying out loud, you haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1967, and I don't think any Sabre fan is going to go, well, you're the new president, you got to go win a cup year 1, year 2. They need the realistic ones. I've talked to plenty. They need that foundation. They need the building blocks first. Make the playoffs. Make it again. First round. Second round the next year. Maybe East Finals the third or fourth year. And then from there, who knows, right? Like, it's all gravy from there because Buffalo doesn't have a sports championship anyways. So, is it Shanahan? Is it somebody else? I don't know. And then who do you have as a head coach? I mean, I got to be honest. I mean, I kind of wanted, Joel Quenneville when he was out there, and look at what he's doing right now in Anaheim. I mean, all the young guys, McTavish and all these guys are doing a great job. Do you go the college route and go with the a Pandolfo, Jay Pandolfo, or a David Carl? Now, I understand all these people, he's never going to leave Denver. He just signed the multi-year extension stat. Anybody can be had for a price. It does not matter. Have you looked at what's going on with Lane Kiffin right now? Lane Kiffin's at Ole Miss. He's got a really good team this year, and it doesn't matter. He's flying all over the place, talking to other schools, rival schools, while we're in late November, where his team has a chance to do some more damage this year. But it does not matter because it's almighty dollar and continuing to climb the ladder. Any price is the right price that they name and they want, they being the head coach in waiting. So do you go down the college ranks and get a guy who's young, hungry, can relate to players' culture, closer in age to guys? Do you get a grinder like that? Somebody's going to really push these guys young and wants it so bad. It's the first NHL job. They have a great hockey background. You go the veteran guy. Again, I would have loved Quenneville for sure. It's a hard one, but you can't miss it. So I like either idea. Joel Quenneville would have been the best idea in terms of a veteran head coach who has a ton of experience, who was out there. A lot of teams maybe, I don't want to take, with the checkered pass and all that, a chance. And I said, to hell with that. I would have taken a chance on him in less than a second. I like both ideas, but again, the guy's got to have at least a credibility. Can't be like a Mike Sullivan, but, at least a credibility of a Joel Quenneville. If you go the college route, I don't mind that one either, because then you're at least committing to the long term with this guy. Let him build his program, bring in assistants, do his thing. That's kind of what I would do if I were trying to rebuild the Buffalo Sabres. I went 20 minutes on this thing, way longer than I thought, but I wanted to get a lot of thoughts out there how I would rebuild the Buffalo Sabres. Mike Lindsley here. It's an ML Sports Take. It's all brought to you by Batavia Downs Gaming, Western OTB, Bonnet Sales and Service, and our great friends over at Stanley Law Offices, the maximum award people. Let them help you with Social Security, disability, and more in New York and Pennsylvania. Go start a free consultation and chat at StanleyLawOffices.com. And please follow and subscribe to my YouTube page at ML Sports Platter. Again, go ahead and like all those videos and just hit subscribe right there at ML Sports Platter. Also, want to thank a couple of select partner friends of the program, Mark Alberti, Dan Davidson Jr., Dan Davidson Sr., and my man Dom Cambereri, who's also a diehard Sabre fan, who I know is watching this video as well, and Jammin' Beats, Elevate Barbershop, Tismart Cigar Shop and Lounge, Dan Reynolds, John Kilb, and Mike Lewis. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.